Thank you for joining me for this brief tutorial focused on managing pipette calibration plans for use with the MVS in the Artelware software application. We've got a lot of ground to cover, so let's go ahead and get started. Your MVS pipette calibration plan is where you'll define how many replicates that you're going to take for each pipette calibration, what volumes, and what tolerance limits are going to be applied to each of those volumes when you perform your pipette calibrations. There are a couple of different ways to add a calibration plan to the Artelware software. The first way is to click on the Create Plan shortcut on the Get Started bar. The second way is to navigate to the Configuration section of the left side navigation panel and then go to the Calibration Plans section. Let's go ahead and go back to the home screen. And let's use the Create Plan shortcut on the Get Started bar. We're going to select Pipette Calibration, and we'll click OK. Your pipette calibration plan name typically contains information about the volume of the pipette that you're testing, as well as whether or not it's a fixed volume pipette or an adjustable or variable volume pipette. For today, we are going to be creating a calibration plan for 100 microliter multi-channel pipette. The description field is optional, so we'll leave that blank. But information such as a specific volume that you might be testing with this calibration plan, that information could go here. The next thing that you'll want to select is your measurement type. Because we're going to be using the Artel MVS, we want to make sure that we've selected the Artel MVS for our measurement type. Next, we'll determine the plate type. And in this case, I only have 96 well as an option, because I do not have the 384 well plate support added into my software. If you're interested in the 384 well support add-on, please contact your account manager. Next, we'll determine the number of channels that are in the device. In this particular case, this is an 8-channel pipette. Then we'll determine what type of orientation that we'd like to use. Because this is an 8-channel pipette, there's only one orientation that's available, and that's vertical. If I was using a 4-channel pipette, then I'd have some options. But I'm using an 8-channel pipette, and tip spacing will remain as contiguous wells. I don't have any other options. I can't alternate wells with this 8-channel device in a vertical orientation. Next, I'll need to take a look at the tolerances and determine what types of tolerances that I want to use with this pipette calibration. I have a few different options. I can use the pipette manufacturer specification, or I can use the ISO 8655-2022 permissible tolerances table, or the ISO 8655-2002 permissible tolerances table, or I can define my own tolerances based on user requirements. I'm going to go ahead and select User Defined. Next, I need to make some decisions about how I would like to see my data. I can choose to include channel statistics in my evaluation criteria, as well as dispense order statistics in my evaluation criteria. If I'm interested in seeing these, but I don't want my evaluation criteria to be pass or fail based on these, I can certainly uncheck these boxes. Let's go ahead and include the channel statistics, because I'm testing an 8-channel pipette, and that's important to me. Next, I'll go to the Dispense Steps section, because this is where I'll define what wells are being tested, what volumes are being tested, and what the pass or fail tolerances are for each volume. To add a dispense step, click on the plus sign for Create New Dispense Step. Next, I'll define my dispense volume. So I'm running a quick check on this particular pipette. So I'm going to select 10 microliters with 4 replicates per channel. And I'm going to assign my inaccuracy and imprecision tolerances. Next, I need to select a color that will represent the wells within this plate. And I'll select Add Dispense Step. Artelware will show you a brief tutorial on how to do this. If you don't want to see that tutorial again, you can check the box for Do Not Show This Message Again. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Then I'm going to select the wells where I want these 10 microliter dispenses to be dispensed into. Now I'm performing a routine check with this variable volume pipette, and I don't want to test just at its low end. I want to test its mid and high ends as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this plus sign to add another dispense step, where I'm testing at 50 microliters. I'll select 4 replicates again, and then I'll enter my tolerances for inaccuracy and imprecision for this 50 microliter test. I'll go ahead and I'll select a different color to represent the dispensing of the wells, and I'll select the wells that I want these 50 microliter replicates to be dispensed into. Last, to complete this routine test, I'll add one last volume, which is at 100 microliters, the highest volume in this pipette, 4 replicates, and once again, entering my inaccuracy and imprecision specification. And this time I'll select another color to represent my wells, and I'll go ahead and map my plate. I can add additional plates and additional dispense steps, but because this is a routine test, I'm going to go ahead and leave it as is. I'll go ahead and select approved, and if there's an additional review comment that you want to add, you can certainly do that here, or accept the default one. I'm going to accept the default and click OK. And now you can see that my 100 microliter variable multi-channel pipette calibration plan is now listed. There are a couple of other icons that are on this screen that might be of interest. So once your calibration plan list grows a bit larger, you may choose to filter so that you can quickly locate various calibration plans. There's a refresh icon on this screen. There's also an import Artel MVS Data Manager plate layout in this screen. If you have MVS Data Manager versions 3.6 or 3.7, you can export those plate layouts and import them into Artelware. There's also a clone selected calibration plan icon. So if you want to clone this calibration plan, but maybe you want to call it a different name, you could certainly do that. Or if you want to create another calibration plan from this screen, simply click on the plus sign. Now you'll notice that the calibration version is version 1 for this multi-channel calibration plan I just created. In your Artelware verification reports, it will include the list of the calibration plan name that was used, as well as the version. If I want to edit this particular calibration plan, I can click on the edit icon, and then you'll notice that my version immediately versions to version 2. And it will continue to version for each edit that I make. A couple of other useful pieces of information that you might find in this calibration plan screen is an icon to view schedules that calibration plan might be included in. Or if you wanted to deactivate your selected calibration plan, you could do that as well. So a special thing to note is that if your calibration plan is linked to a schedule, you will have to remove the calibration plan from your schedule prior to deactivating it. And once you deactivate a calibration plan, you cannot reactivate that calibration plan. So that's important to note as well. Okay, that concludes our brief tutorial. Do you have additional questions? Please contact us at 1-800-225-4034 option 3 or at support@aicompanies.com. Thank you.